Hey everyone, you're listening to Nerd Boys Comics. I'm Marco.
And I'm Andrea.
And today we're doing our big fat spoiler talk for The Death of Superman. It's the new DC animated movie that just came out, and we have a lot of opinions about it.
I have a lot of opinions about it.
Yeah, was not that great, I have to say. Just straight up, DC films, the animated ones, have like really gone down in quality since like...
I can see why this movie's called The Death of Superman.
Because you think they killed Superman?
Yeah, in the good way. They didn't kill it in the good way.
Nah, well, I think like we just saw like New Frontier like 2 days ago, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And that came out 11 years ago, maybe? Mm-hmm. And now like Death of Superman came out this year. New Frontier looks a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the animation quality and a lot of the general quality of these movies has gone down a lot since like Justice League War, which is kind of like Flashpoint was like the beginning of this new universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to get into this?
I do, because I don't know where to start. Like, do I start with like the beginning, or do I start with what I don't like about this movie?
We don't really have to talk about the story too much. Like, when things come up, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Because it's the Death of Superman. We've seen this, like, 2 or 3 times already, like, in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are we just talking about in movies or in comics as well?
Well, in comics, too, because New 52 Superman died, 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
Yeah. And then we also have Batman v Superman.
Which was also 2 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. It was only 2 years ago. Feels a lot longer. But yes, Death of Superman 2018, it was a film written by Peter J. Tomasi. I really love Tomasi's work on Batman and Robin. I like his work on Superman, Super Sons, Robin, Son of Batman. This one...
I just think it's funny how you were just like, this movie's terrible. Wow, what are they doing? Oh, Peter J. Tomasi, whoa, this movie's great!
Yeah, for most of the movie, I was, like, bashing it. We were, like, drinking and cracking jokes about the whole movie. And the credits roll, and it's, like, written by Peter J. Tomasi. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. That's awesome.
It makes sense. Everything makes sense.
It makes so much sense now. No, but admittedly, not everything Tomasi does is, like, gold. Sometimes it ends up being bad.
Yeah.
This is one of those examples. Like, Brian Azzarello, he worked on the Killing Joke animated movie, and that didn't turn out so well. And people, and myself included, like a lot of Brian Azzarello's work. Well, some of it. Name
me something, because I don't know any of his work.
Well, he's worked on Wonder Woman. He's worked on Joker, which was kind of like not really Elseworlds story.
This is all animated?
No, in the comics.
Oh, comics. Okay.
Yeah. He had a little Joker graphic novel that came out around the time of Dark Knight. Yeah. A lot of people who are from the comics side, they go over to do the animated work, and sometimes it doesn't really...
end up very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dialogue reads better off the page than, like, voice actors doing their take on it. Mm-hmm. Or the voice director's take on it, really. Because we were really talking about how Lex Luthor's lines in this were really...
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God.
Yeah. No.
It was terrible. It's like a child was, like, saying these lines. And I'm like... Why do you talk like that? Like, out of everybody, why do you have, like, these weird one-liners?
Well, Lex Luthor, he's always, like, a pretentious character, right? And
yeah, but, I mean, like, it's just, like, it didn't even have cockiness to it. It just felt clueless.
A little bit, but most of the time he was just, like, berating other people and trying to make himself feel more superior, in a way. And it didn't really...
Tell me! I'm gonna tell you a line. How does this make him look superior? Does that rock look pregnant to you?
That was dumb. That was really dumb. So Dwight from The Office voices Lex Luthor, and it makes sense on paper. It makes sense to have this, like, arrogant guy voice Lex Luthor.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you would have to have more dialogue. Like, if it was on page... You get to have more dialogue, right? But we have these one-liners, and it's just like, it's dumb. It makes him look dumb.
His final line, Like someone asks, "Oh, where's that ship going?" Up, up, and away.
Oh my god.
And I was like, what?
What are you, Buzz Lightyear?
We get it. It's a Superman reference. But please stop. Okay.
It's just terrible.
Something cool about this movie was the Justice League.
The only thing cool about the Justice League was Flash and Hal Jordan.
Yeah. Especially because Hal's voiced by your favorite actor.
Nathan Fillion.
Yes. And I love their joke. They're like...
Their attitude with each other was really playful, and that was it. But my favorite part about Flash was the opening. It was like, is it too late to join the Titans?
Yes. Okay, so Tomasi did write some good dialogue, but mostly the interactions between the Leaguers. And that was it. And Clark in this is like the New 52 Superman. This is the one that has like this weird, well, I don't even know if it's accurate to New 52 Superman. It's like this weird Superman that is really self-conscious and doesn't want to tell Lois his secret, and like everyone around him has told their significant other. Like Barry tells Iris. Like Aquaman and Mara, they're married already. They're Atlanteans. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their whole like relationship thing figured out except for Superman.
Yeah.
And he acts like an alien when he should really be the most human superhero of them all. Like because
he had a normal life.
Yeah, he was raised by good people. Even Batman says it. He's like the most human among us, even though he's just an alien. Like he's a super powerful alien, but he's got good character, good morals. He's the most polite out of all of us. He has a good head on his shoulders. But in this movie, he comes off really just like, oh, I don't know what to do. Should I tell Lois my secret? Oh, it's really hard.
Why is that the thing nowadays? Like, I've noticed that a lot. It's that they make Superman this... He's not even relatable at this point, in my opinion. Before, like, Superman had a lot of things relatable, like morality and stuff like that. But we always know him as the good. He always chooses the good, the right, the everything. He's the super.
He's true north.
Yeah. And like now he's like questioning his life, questioning his motives, questioning what he should have, what he shouldn't have, questioning everything. It's just like, I don't want a weak Superman.
Yeah. It's a very 21st century Superman. Like for a long time, people have been trying to like revamp the character to be like self-doubting and stuff like that. Yeah. But when I like Superman, he's already like established himself as a hero. He's been doing this for a long time, and this Superman, according to the timeline of like the new DC animated movies, he's been doing it for like years. But he still feels like a rookie.
The only time he ever feels cocky is when he talks to Diana.
Yeah.
It's the only time.
And they bring up the past relationship that they had in all the other movies.
It was good while it lasted.
Yeah. It was good for other reasons, you know. But in thinking about it, like this Lois Clark relationship really comes out of nowhere in the continuity of these films.
Really?
Kind of, yeah. Because the last movie they were in together was like Justice League, Throne of Atlantis, I think.
I haven't seen all of this movie. I'm just basing everything off this movie, and it's ridiculous to me.
Well, like this universe is pretty much like Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis, Son of Batman, Batman Bad Blood, like all the Batman movies that came out in the past like 5 years, and like the Teen Titans one with the Judas Contract.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are like, that's it pretty much. The last time we saw Lois was probably, I think, like Throne of Atlantis, and she like walked in on Clark and Diana having like a date, and that was like the last time we saw her.
Oh wow!
And now all of a sudden they're dating, and I was like, oh, this is weird. Yeah, just
I can see why that would be really weird. Now that you say it, now I'm like starting to realize that is really actually really rushed, because when there's the beginning scene where we realize that Lois and Clark are together now, right? She talks about, he's like, I understand when a guy doesn't want to be with me or something like that, or doesn't want to rush the relationship. I'm like, whoa.
This is pretty rushed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man.
We didn't even know you were together.
Now I know why he didn't want to tell her the secret. Like, we just got together in this movie. What do you mean you want to know my secret? For this Superman, I think staying with Wonder Woman would have worked better for him. Like, in the comics, I'm totally for Lois and Clark. Like, That's the ultimate relationship in comics. But for the movie series, I think like it was fine. Wonder Woman and Superman, because it's New 52, so who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like now they're trying to go for like a rebirth style in the movies.
I hope so.
Which I think they might botch it up, because if they don't raise the quality of the films, it's still going to look like this. It's still going to be written like this. Because what makes Rebirth really great is like it's written very well, and like they totally revamped everything to be more like the original timeline. Mm-hmm. And that's like the big draw for Rebirth. If you do that in the movies, there's not really like a continuity to go back to unless you go like Bruce Timm, like unless you go back to like the original animated universe from like 90s up until 2006.
I think they're gonna still stick to New 52.
Yeah,
because that's like the only thing they know and the only thing they can experiment within.
Yeah,
because you can't really experiment with Rebirth because the story isn't finished.
True. But the Rebirth brand, like the line, has kind of already ended. Like, because they have stopped putting Rebirth on the titles, like, for the past year, I think.
I know, but I mean, like, there's still a plot there.
Yeah, there's still threads that need to be finished.
And I highly doubt people are just gonna go on these, like, life stories about these characters. They need something. And New 52 is the only time you can, like, fuck everything up with. Because nobody really cared about New 52. And if you did, I feel really, really sorry for you.
I cared about New 52 because I was like 17 at the time. And I was like, I want something edgy from DC.
Oh
Even though DC was edgy before, like they were going through awkward phases of being like violent and bloody and all this stuff and making angsty characters. But like New 52 is really like...
But it's not your favorite, is it?
No.
Exactly.
Looking back, it was a rough time.
That's my point. I mean, being like... They can make the story their own. Because it's a rough time for DC in New 52.
Yeah, New 52.
You can make it as gory as you want and people will like it. In animated form.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of our friends have liked it so far.
Yeah. Like... starting with the, like, at the beginning of the movie, I'm gonna say it looked like shit.
Yeah.
I did not like it. The animation was slow. It was really, like, just moving mouths, still images and everything.
A lot of CGI. Like,
every car is
Every car is CGI. A lot of mechanical things are CGI just because we don't really want to draw that. Whenever a window breaks, whenever there's, like, something... kind of would have been cool to see in like animation, it's CGI. It's a constant problem with the movie. It's really distracting too.
It wasn't so distracting until you kept saying, look, CGI.
Yeah. But every car, when they flip over, when they driving cars, they're CGI. It's just maybe like one taxi was not CGI and that was it.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Yeah. But yeah, I have to agree.
It worked. I'm not gonna lie, the CGI worked because it was easier to do than actually have a model.
Yeah, but
design.
I have to agree with you. The animation in the beginning was really, really bad, but by the end, with the fight, it got really, really good. Yeah,
it did. After like when the Justice League started getting beat up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because we got drunker or because they actually did do a good job, like portraying this fight. Because like at first. It's kind of like the comics. In the 90s, you had a really shitty Justice League going up against Doomsday. It was like the international team. So it was like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle and all those guys. Mm-hmm. Who I love those characters, but like it was a not so powerful Justice League. Mm-hmm. And nowadays you always have this big, powerful Justice League team. And it was their turn to fight Doomsday in this movie. And they're kind of like retelling the introduction of Doomsday. Where, like, he beats up the Justice League and then Superman has to fight him. And they really, like, without going through the whole fight, like, you have the beginning of the fight and then Superman is talking to Lois and then you get back at the end of the fight, Cyborg's eye is, like, falling out. Most of the Leaguers are knocked out. Hal's gone. Hawkman's gone. Batman broke his arm or snapped his arm.
Mm-hmm. I just have something to say. Batman had the least lines in these movies. In this movie, I mean.
Yeah.
He hardly spoke. He hardly did anything. And he's the one that got the least injured.
Because he's Batman. He held up the best fight because he's Batman.
I'm like making a face right now. I hope you understand my frustration there, though. Like, I love Batman. I do, but I don't like when people paint him like he's a miracle.
Like Bat God?
Oh my god, Bat God.
Yeah. That's a thing. A lot of people love Bat God. That's why a lot of DC fans are really into Batman being the best at everything. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he like survived, he was the least injured in that fight.
Yeah.
Like even Wonder Woman had it pretty bad. Like she almost gets stabbed by Doomsday.
Abuse? No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. But literally, she got beat up.
Yeah.
And it was pretty entertaining though.
Yeah, I think they kept their PG-13 by like keeping most of the punches like out of our view.
Yeah.
Because like they're in a crater and all you see is Doomsday punching and you don't really see Wonder Woman getting hit.
Yeah.
But it's still there and you get to see the after effect. Like if you got to see like Cyborg getting his like eye popped out and like Batman doing all this stuff, it would have been a little bit higher.
I wish I could remember the line she says to Doomsday. What is the line she says? It just cracked me up.
Oh, I compel you to surrender?
Oh my god. That's not how the lasso of truth works.
Sometimes maybe. Or maybe she...
It's the lasso of truth, not the lasso of control.
Yes. I thought it was hilarious when Green Lantern uses the ring to like capture Doomsday, and Doomsday is just so strong, he breaks the ring's like projection.
Oh boy.
And he breaks every of the hard...
Apparently he can see Flash moving at the speed of light.
Yes, that was... Okay, that's when I had to say this movie made Doomsday look really overpowered. Like, Flash could punch Doomsday as much as he wanted. Like, Doomsday's not gonna, like, put out one punch and, like, knock out the Flash. It's not gonna be like that.
No. Jesus. I can't with this movie. There was a lot of things wrong with this. The animation did get better during the fight, but I wish it just consistently stayed good.
Yeah. But I think the problem with these DC movies is they're throwing less money at them, and they're also cranking out like 3 or 4 of them a year. Maybe with like the DC streaming service, they'll put more effort into them, and like maybe we'll have a...
Guys, if you like DC, please do give them your money because I need good movies.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Young Justice Season 3 is going to look good. If it doesn't, I'll be heartbroken.
It better look like Voltron.
I made a joke at one point. Superman. He gets a cut on his face like Shiro from Voltron. I'm like, wow, it's Shiro. And a lot like in Season 6 of Voltron during the big fight, the animation budget gets really cranked up. At the point where Superman gets a scar on his face, the animation went up.
Oh my god, yeah. There's also another line that I remembered. Lois Lane basically named Doomsday all by herself. She's like, I'm gonna pull this name out of my ass. Doomsday!
Yeah, no, she's like, this Doomsday is attacking Superman.
That's it, folks. She named it. We're putting it in the newspaper. Doomsday. Remember that.
I mean, I think in the comics, it's like one of the Leaguers, it's either like Booster Gold or something, is like, it's here, it's Doomsday. Like, just offhandedly saying, like, or it's our Doomsday or something like that. And even in Batman v Superman, it's like Lex Luthor being like, and this is your Doomsday.
Like, it makes more sense that, okay, in Batman v Superman, he was trying to kill Superman.
Yeah.
So he's like, this is his end. This is Doomsday.
Yeah.
This is gonna be your fall, right?
Not literally calling it Doomsday, just being like offhandedly saying Doomsday, and that kind of names the creature in a way.
I like when either the villain names himself or somebody names the villain out of a reason. It just can't be like Doomsday, because then that's basically saying, I'm expecting my boyfriend to die today.
Yeah, I guess so. Just kill him to sell more newspapers. Okay.
Like, I called it Superman, I killed you.
This movie is actually a part 1 of 2. And the second part is The Reign of the Superman. And this movie has the unfortunate, nature to it where it has to introduce the 4 Supermen that come out after this, which is Superboy, Steel, Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman. And we kind of get like weird clumsy introductions to like a few of the characters. Like Steel, I can understand, like he's working at Star Labs and he's John Henry Irons III.
He's wearing a Superman shirt.
He's a Superman fanboy, and that makes sense. I felt like that was the most organic out of all these introductions. Second best would probably be Superboy. He's just a thing in a test tube at LexCorp.
I gotta say though, that's the New 52 costume, right?
Yeah.
I hate it.
The Tron costume?
I hate that Tron costume because I don't know why. I forget why they end up with those costumes. I don't know if it's because during the culling.
He had that costume from the beginning, but then everyone else kind of got costumes similar to that. Oh, like
no, I remember it's around that time.
Yeah, because like not Red Robin. Yeah.
Everybody has that costume.
Yeah, everyone gets.
Flash has that costume.
Tim has a costume.
Wonder Girl? Is that her name?
Cassie.
Cassandra.
Is it Cassandra in that universe?
Cassandra.
Okay.
Everybody has that costume.
They all get ridiculous Tron costumes.
But I remember it during the time that it's during the culling, like where all the people are, all the kids.
That's one of the most infamous Teen Titans.
Yeah. And but I remember during that time, it's also like where there's a clone Superboy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't let them know that I'm not the real Superboy. Now I'm like, fuck this story.
A clone of a clone?
A clone of a clone.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Oh, who would have thought?
Spider-Man all over.
Jesus. Yeah, but other than his really bad costume, I think Superboy was the second most organic introduction of a character. Third, I guess, is Eradicator, because he's like a hologram inside of the...
Even though his name wasn't said.
No, his name wasn't said. No one's name was really said, kind of. Like, you get...
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No one's superhero name is said. Eradicator is like a hologram in the capsule that Kal-El came to Earth in. And the only reason I could tell was because the hologram wears goggles, like Eradicator does.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's Eradicator.
Well, I don't know any of these characters. Even as being a DC fan, I'm not a huge Superman fan, so I wouldn't know about all these stuff unless you mention it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big 90s Superman fan because my dad had the Death of Superman and the Return of Superman, so I had all the stories with like the Reign of the Superman and everything, and I was really into like just reading those old back issues. Like when I think I was like 8 or 9 when he introduced me to Superman comics. So like I just had to read those over and over again. The
only person we did actually get his name was Hank
Henshaw. Yeah, no, we got John Henry Irons, who's Steel.
Steel.
But Hank Henshaw was also introduced, I think, in the not the laziest way, but just like the most out of place. Which was like him and his crew are in space.
Well, it wasn't so out of place because he was mentioning, it was during the time people were mentioning being saved by Superman.
Yeah, kind of. We get a bunch of characters who are like, Superman
because
saved.
It was a fisherman first, right? Bibbo.
Yeah.
And then it would skip to him.
Hank Henshaw, yeah.
Yeah.
And we also get Maggie Sawyer in this one, who's a police officer. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But I appreciate that Maggie was in this.
Okay.
Hank Henshaw, his crew's in space. When Doomsday comes to Earth, like he's in a asteroid, a meteorite, and he crashes through the space station. And Hank Henshaw's like, "Don't worry, Superman will come for us. He'll save us." Everyone's dead. Even he died. Well,
he gets hit by the meteor.
Yeah, he becomes Cyborg Superman. We all know it because we read comics. But
I read comics, but I don't read those.
Yeah, no, I can give them to you. They're in the long box.
I'll just listen to you talk about it instead.
Yeah, I'll talk about how Hank Henshaw was a knockoff of the Fantastic Four.
It's not the Superman from a different universe where he has spider legs, right?
No, not that one. No.
The robot spider legs.
Actually, okay. That's Future's End. I think what you're talking about is Future's End.
Yeah.
But Cyborg Superman is like hopefully in the next movie, they show this, but like Lois goes to him and is like, Clark, or like says something kind of like, Superman, it's you, and he's like, oh, good day, citizen, whatever, flies away. So she knows like that's not Clark.
Okay.
Also in this movie, yeah, we do get the Lois Clark reveal of like, I'm Superman. How'd you feel about that?
It was cheap.
Was it cheap? I felt like it was just like the typical Lois being like, oh my god, you are Superman, and then going through the thoughts in her head being like, wait, you write stories about yourself? That's unethical. Oh my god, I'm dating an alien. Like this and that.
No, I'm not saying that's cheap. Like that, like the reaction between her and him were, yeah, it's very like, it's common sense, right? But I mean, like, it's very egotistical of himself, I guess, to bring her to that restaurant.
See, it's weird because he says, like, ask Jimmy for the place. And then, like, she gets told by Jimmy to go to Bibbo's because apparently it's his favorite. It's just an excuse to have Bibbo in the movie more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was, like, Superman being like, let's go to my number one fan's bar and grill.
Oh.
No, I think it was more like, Jimmy knows a place. I think.
I hope that's how it happened.
I hope so, too. Yeah.
No, because he... yeah.
Yeah.
I remember he's like, I'll tell Jimmy the place, he'll give you the place.
Was it? I think it's just lazy writing to get her to go
There's
to Bibbo's.
There's a lot of lazy writing in
Conveniences.
there.
There's...
I understand it. It's more like dialogue to get you to the next part.
Kind of. It does feel like that. It feels like this needs to happen, so we're going to lazily get to that point instead of logically getting to that point.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie kind of...
I feel like Peter J. Tomasi could have written better, and I'm not blaming him for anything. I think it was somebody else's decision to make the movie shorter and quicker to get to the point, right?
Maybe.
Like, I think he could write... Like, I know he can write better stories.
Yeah, he's done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, but there's not enough time to give you a good story.
Maybe. Yeah, because there's a lot of...
There was a lot of good lines, but there was a lot of shitty lines to get you to the next part.
Yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover with this, because you're doing, like, the introduction of Doomsday, you're also doing, like, the introductions of all the Supermen who are going to come from this, you're doing the big reveal of the identity, you're doing a lot of, like, other things. Lois meets the parents, which I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah. My favorite part was when it's all the Justice League together, right?
Yeah.
And Flash tells everybody he has a rehearsal to go to. And everybody's like, what? And
Martian Manhunter?
Yeah, Martian Manhunter is like, what does he have to do with theater? And Batman's like, no, he's getting married. And he's like, oh, wow. And Superman's like, whoa, one of my friends is getting married. Like, it's blowing my mind because he's a fucking superhero.
We could do that?
We can get married?
It's not like...
And we don't have to be married to one of our own kind? It doesn't have to be Diana? The only woman we know in this super...
It doesn't have to be Diana or Shira?
Oh my god.
I'm kind of bummed Shire isn't in this movie. Or Jessica Cruz. I think Jessica would be cool.
Yeah. But my point being, like, it was really interesting, the conversation between Flash and Superman talking about how do you tell your partner? How do you commit to that part of your life? Like, because all you know is how to be a superhero. That's your main life at this point. That's Superman's main life.
Yeah.
Flash lives between both because he's quick enough to do it. But
he's also got a way easier rogues gallery. He's got, like, Captain Cold, he's got, like, Grodd, and, like, that's about
But Superman did this on his own. I mean, he decided to be Superman.
Yeah.
The top dog, basically, right? So, my point is that he's, like, having this, like, moment where he's realizing, wow, I can put two and two together and make it one.
They make four.
I know, but I mean, like, make his whole life into one.
Yes. I just wanted to bust your balls for a second.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Ruining my life. But I mean, like,
You can have your cake and eat it too. Like, where Barry can, like, be a superhero and be married to Iris and not keep the secret from her.
Why are you doing this to me? Now my brain's cracked.
What'd I do?
And then the fact that I said 2 and 2 and put it together and make it 1.
Oh.
Like
bad.
a half and a half is
Yeah.
what I meant to say.
Put the 2 halves of his life together. Yeah. It's the alcohol. Don't worry about it.
You're ruining my life, though.
Yeah. But, I don't know, this movie was kind of fun. A lot of it was mostly, like, the Justice League parts were fun. And the interactions between, like,
I felt like it was a lot of a hit to, like, comic book readers. Like, did you get that? Did you see that? Did you see what I did there?
I understood that
like
reference.
that?
I got it.
And like, people like me who don't read Superman or Justice League constantly, I'm like, what?
Yeah. But you got some stuff. You were
Something.
mostly Flash stuff.
Yeah, because I like Flash. Flash is my favorite.
Yeah. And you loved that Teen Titans reference.
Oh my god. No, he didn't say Teen Titans. He said Titans.
He just said Titans.
Yeah. There was another thing that you pointed out, which was Lex Luthor.
Yes. Luthor in this movie is a weird oddball, but also, like...
That's not the part I'm talking about.
There
was a reference to the comics.
Yes. So when he's under house arrest, kind of, by the government. And to get out, he wears a disguise, which is a red wig and beard. And that is a direct reference to his look that he had during this time period in Superman comics when he was Alexander Luthor II, which was like a clone body of Lex because he had died of cancer from kryptonite exposure. And yeah, because kryptonite can get you radiation poisoning.
Wait, he died in this universe?
Yeah.
I'm very confused.
Post-crisis, pre-Flashpoint, Lex does die, has a clone body where he...
Pre-post...
Okay. Post-crisis, pre-Flashpoint, which is the time period between, like, 86 to, like, 2011, I think.
That's a lot of years in between.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time in comics. Lex dies of radiation poisoning, has a clone body, which he tries to say is like his son, so he could still be Lex Luthor and stuff. He also has like a hot alien pretend to be Supergirl for a hot second.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not in this movie at all. But they just did a visual reference to that by his like dumb disguise, which probably wouldn't work because it still looks like Lex, just not bald. I mean, if you put on a wig on a bald person, I think they would look very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put glasses on a person, you can't even tell who they are.
Exactly. I think the DC universe is really like oblivious to things like that. Like Batman is the only person who could tell like that man's wearing glasses. Other than that, I think everyone else is just what? What do you mean they're the same person?
Yeah.
This man wears glasses. Superman does not. This guy hunches a lot. Superman stands up straight.
Yeah.
Any other things in your notes?
I had a mention about Atlanteans.
Oh, what about Atlanteans?
Was the fact that there wasn't more about it, that a few people died.
Yeah, they're the red shirts of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that a Star Trek reference?
It is.
Okay.
It is. We have like 2 Atlanteans show up. Okay, I want to talk about Doomsday because I just remembered something. In the comics, Doomsday is very threatening and imposing because he's this thing that's like in a restrained suit. Like he has one arm attached, like one arm restrained to his body, so he's only got one free arm to punch with. And he practically beats the Justice League with one arm in the comics. And in this movie, he has 2 free arms and like a suit that's kind of like a weird update to the original. And I thought to myself, why not just, like, restrain one arm to make him look even more badass in the beginning?
Cut one arm off.
Well, not cut it off, but just, like, keep it restrained like it was in the comics.
Uh-huh.
Because it's kind of like, what's the best way to describe it? It's like a sling. It's in a sling, kind of, but not really. As he gets beat up, the suit progressively gets worn away. So you get to see the monster underneath. And that happens in the movie, but it just happens in, like, a weird kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the things that should tear apart the suit don't, but Batman's explosives do.
Oh, yeah. I realized that, and I was, like, very confused.
Like, Flash hitting Doomsday with Hawkman's mace definitely should have torn off more of the suit than Batman throwing little nanites or little nano bombs at him.
He's like, I know how to infiltrate my own Justice League. I can definitely take this guy down. Pew!
Yeah. Actually, I don't think this version of the Justice League has gone through Tower of Babel yet.
I'm not.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing that you're referencing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just saying I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of things in this movie are irrelevant. They should have just focused on Flash's wedding.
Just make a whole movie about Flash's wedding.
Please.
Yeah.
I really didn't care that much about this movie, but whenever Flash spoke, I was like, yes, please. Thanks.
Oh, yes. And
tell me more.
okay, another thing, I don't hate this movie because it was not like the comics. I just dislike a lot of things that happened in it. But one thing I think the comics did a lot better was his parents' reaction to the death of Superman. Because no one can know that Superman is Clark Kent. Like, even after his death. So the parents, Mom, Pa Kent, they have to bury Clark's toys at their farm. Like, they can't have a funeral for him.
That's
they can't be in Metropolis. They have to bury his childhood belongings.
That's super depressing.
This movie does it a little bit differently. They're there in Metropolis, but they can't be at the actual, like, funeral they're having for Superman. They can't be at the ceremony.
They're at the funeral, though, for Superman.
They are, but they can't get any closer than the barrier.
Which was fucking weird for me. Okay, so they're crying, and the fucking cop goes like, ma'am, sir, you had to back up. And it's like, and then Mom continues crying, and he's like, is she gonna be okay? It's like, yeah, it's just she's very emotional. It's a loss for everybody. And he's like, yeah, he's like family, wasn't he? And I'm like, what?
A little bit too on the nose right there.
What?
A little bit too much.
How would you know?
It feels like he's family because he's Superman, you know? Even though it's based on New 52 Superman and he's
terrible.
He's no one's family.
It's a terrible line.
It probably reads a lot better in your head. Reading it as a comic book, it probably would have sounded great.
I'm tearing up at the fact that was a shitty ass line.
Yeah. DC animated stuff, the voice acting, it ranges from like really bad to like just passable. And a lot of this was like, it didn't hit the mark. Mm-hmm. Especially emotional stuff. Like one or a few emotional lines here and there, but like that's about it. Yep.
My last thing to say is, what the hell was up with Martian Manhunter? Why do he look so fragile and skinny? That's it.
I know. I thought he was gonna like me. He looks like a Rick and Morty alien because like the way he's shaped is just like a sausage.
Or like what's that movie? Mars Attacks?
He doesn't look like a Mars Attacks alien.
He has a big head and like a weird fragile body.
So he's gonna be like ack. Yeah. Oh man. Before I made those sounds. Before I said that, I had a thought in my head.
I hope it's lost.
Jeez.
Like this movie.
No, this movie's might be okay if the second one is real. Okay.
This movie is okay only for like 30 minutes.
The post credits. I want to talk about I think it was the first post credit scene, which is Superboy getting out of his tube and grabbing a leather jacket,
flailing my arms about that. But my only question to this is basically, okay, Superboy is in a lab, right?
Yes, he's at Cadmus.
So, people who work in labs are scientists, right?
Typically, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do scientists wear?
Lab coats.
What color are they?
White.
Right.
Yeah.
Yet, while he's exiting the laboratory, what's the first thing he picks up?
Wouldn't you know, it is a black leather coat.
What the hell?
Black leather jacket. You know what? I have an explanation. I have a perfect...
Lex Luthor left it there, because we all know Lex likes leather jackets.
No, even better. It's Lex Luthor's delinquent nephew from
Christ.
Superman 4, The Quest for... No, it's probably not that. And maybe the Fonzie was there. Maybe the Fonzie was visiting and forgot his jacket.
Oh my god.
And the Fonz was like, hey, forget about it.
Why do you need a leather jacket when you already have such a distinguished, like, known outfit?
It's not distinguished, but it's distinct.
Like, I mean, like, we know that outfit for a specific reason.
Yes.
Right? Why would you combine it with the leather jacket?
Because visual reference to the 90s. Because...
Who are you trying to appeal?
It's so conflicting. It's like, we just had a Death of Superman from, like, 2016, right?
Yeah.
You could easily try and adapt that and make it work better. Like, doing the Death of Superman from the 90s, you're now having to visually adapt the looks of those characters. So you have a Superboy with a Tron suit, but a leather jacket over it. And you're probably going to have, like, a steel that's, like, a combination of, like, present day and 90s nostalgia, which is kind of weird.
Wanna bet
Cyborg
that
Superman.
Steel
Yes?
is gonna look like Lex Luthor's Superman.
From Rebirth?
Yeah.
That would be... You know what? Actually,
Because
Cyborg Superman looks a lot like that. Cyborg Superman looks like a mixture of, like, Superboy Prime suit and Lex's power suit.
Because they're throwing too many things together to appeal to every generation of comic book fans.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea.
It's so weird.
Because you end up getting, like, half of the people angry.
Yeah. And this is written by a guy who was just working on Superman Rebirth, which followed the Death of Superman from, like, 2 years ago. And he had an amazing run on Superman. And now it's like... But I don't blame him specifically, because it has to do a lot with, like, character designers and character illustrators. Like, I can tell, like, they kind of wanted to mix looks from each generation. I think they kind of wanted to do that. They wanted nostalgia, and they wanted contemporary looks.
If you're gonna use the design for New 52, please just do leather jacket Superboy.
Yeah, I would prefer, like
the attitude, the character, that. If you're gonna use a shitty ass design, at least replace his attitude. Because I love Teen Titans, I really do, even when they're shit. I love them because they're the things that I grew up with, right? But I don't like New 52 Superboy. I like 80s and 90s Superboy where he's this cocky twerp.
Yeah. Superboy from 93, I think, up until he dies at the hands of Superboy Prime. I think that's like...
That's my favorite!
Yeah, that's...
I love him to death. That's my boyfriend right there.
Yeah. Connor's really great. Up until they reboot him, and he becomes like this weird Tron guy. But yeah, and...
Now he just becomes this weak, fragile boy.
Was he weak?
Yeah, he got his ass beat a lot of times. Yeah. And then he got framed a lot for murder.
And Connor from the 90s, I think he had the best look. Like, as a kid, growing up, I was like, that's the look I want Superman to have. Now, I know that's a foolish thing to think as a kid, but... Like,
why? That's why I call him my boyfriend, because
I look like him now?
Because you guys have a resemblance.
I guess.
I need
more of the curl. I don't really have... I have the Connor look from, like, the 2000s, kind of. Not the 90s. I don't have that hair yet. Maybe one day. We'll see. But, anything else we're missing?
We did get a flash, like, a little image of, what's his name? Fortress of Solitude?
Eradicator at the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, that was the thing. The movie ends, or technically ends, with, like, Lois and Jimmy seeing, like, a Superman-type person at, like, the memorial of or the monument to Superman, which I love that monument. It's the one with like Superman with like an eagle coming down on like resting on his arm, and like the eternal,
true American form,
true American Superman, and, like an eternal flame lit by Hal Jordan. It's like burning, and he has the casket. It's the tomb of Superman, and like 3 days later, not literally 3 days, but in my head 3 days later, his tomb is defiled, and you see a Superman type figure just like flying away, and they're like, Clark, our Superman, he's back. And in my head I'm like, that's Eradicator. But I like the imagery there of like his casket is open and the doors are open, and like Lois is kind of like, oh my god, what's happening? Is someone trying to take his body, or is it him? Is he back?
Yeah. Well, that's it for me.
Yeah. I just hope Lex does wear a better power suit in the next one. And I hope it's also well animated, unlike this one.
I'm not gonna lie, I just thought of another thing.
What'd you think of?
But it's so bad. Because it's like the beginning lines of the movie. The beginning is like with Superman basically saving a few cops, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a bunch of villains getting out. I don't even know who the villains are.
Oh, they're the Intergang.
They're just wearing Lex company stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I remember Superman saves everybody, blah, blah, blah. He crashes his stuff. Flash arrives when Superman tries calling people to clean up his mess, right? And Flash arrives, and then Cyborg arrives, and Cyborg looks to the side like, whoa, looks like you had a tough fight. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You saw one car flipped over, and he's like, whoa, Superman, you must have had a rough-ass day.
Wow, Superman, that's crazy. Oh my.
Whoa.
This one CGI car got flipped over.
Holy, there goes our budget.
There goes the Justice League fund. Bruce, we need more money.
Diana, bring out your Barbies.
Diana, bring out all your merchandising. We know you had a movie last year. It made a shit ton of money. You gotta pay for this car.
Oh my god. That line is just like basically defining this entire movie.
It doesn't match. It doesn't match with what's going on. Like, Cyborg sees a flipped over car. Oh, wow. Tough fight.
Tough fight? What did you fight? Superman? Oh my god. Did you need help?
This will be our baseline for when Doomsday comes, so you know it's even worse.
Oh my god.
It's so much worse.
Flipped car.
All the cars were flipped in the fight.
All the CGI cars.
All the cars. And the buildings. And their CGI windows were shattered.
All I can say is Superman ain't no All Might. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That is so... Okay, just to think of, like, this amazing fight we have in My Hero Academia just, like, 1 week ago. Mm-hmm. And now watching this, and it's like, you can't get hype for this movie. You can't. I defy you to... So many people have told me this is an amazing Justice League movie. It's the
Honestly,
best...
it's not. Like, I've seen a few Superman movies. Like, I mean, a few DC movies. We've seen... Monsters and Gods, or Gods and Monsters. Gods and Monsters. Flashpoint. The Justice League one with Hal Jordan.
War? Or New Frontier?
I think it's New Frontier. There was another movie we seen together. We seen Teen Titans.
Teen Titans, yeah.
I don't remember a lot of other movies, but I know I've seen plenty. There's some Batman movies involved there.
Yes, there's all the Damian ones. And he was in this movie, too.
For like a hot second, and that was it.
A hot second. He was referenced, too. He was mentioned.
Parent-teacher conference. Yeah! Favorite line.
Oh, man, I can't wait until they get, like, Super Sons involved.
I hope that was, like... people talking about Flash's wedding is, like...
Like, a lead up into a better... Like, introduce Wally... Introduce like a few other characters.
Just do Flash family movie.
Just do oh man, that would actually do really well.
Because I like Bart, I like Wally, I like Barry. I even like Bartor, even though he's shit.
Yeah.
But I like him.
Jay, throw in Jay if you want.
The twins.
Oh yeah, Barry's kids. Let's see. Who else would be a really cool...
Give me Jake Garrick too.
Yeah, just throw in everyone.
Just give me everybody.
Flash does so well. Just put it on the DC streaming service.
Just give them all to me, please. Please. Yeah. I need all the funny lines I can get.
Give us all the wisecracking speedsters.
Please.
But yeah, Superman deserves better, especially for his death.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the 2006 one is a little bit better.
Just gonna say, New 52 Superman ain't my favorite.
Yeah. If you want to see a really good Death of Superman animated movie, just watch the one from 2006.
Or just watch BVS.
Or watch... Don't watch BVS. Don't do that. Don't listen to her. Except for like the 5 guys who do like BVS, and you're dedicated fans. I could never admit to like... I can never say it's a good movie. But
compared to this movie?
No, I actually like this one better than BVS.
Okay.
Yeah.
It did have Flash and Hal Jordan, so...
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. Hopefully everyone, if you have seen the movie, let us know your thoughts on the film. If you have not, and we spoiled this without putting a spoiler warning, I'm sorry. And if you enjoy this podcast, you can always leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Marco.
And I'm Andrea.
We'll see you guys next time.
Hate my guts.